a spy isn't as glamorous as I thought. But it isn't dull.
Good
Hey, everyone.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder, also called Darth Bobcat.
Yes. And DB, you've got a book.
I do. So before we launch into our normal little critique of the business and politics behind entertainment and upcoming projects, I have one of my own. My new web serial, Champion of the Orca Princess. The elevator pitch is that a ordinary young man with not a lot of direction in life comes across a stranded orca on an island in the Pacific Northwest, and when he goes to try to cut it loose from a net, it turns into a beautiful young woman, which puts him into which basically introduces him to a hidden world of conspiracies, cryptids, magical girls, and mad scientists. Also, there's a land shark. And if you want to give it a read, the first 8 chapters are currently up on various fiction websites. The one I have linked here is Royal Road, and a link should be in the video description.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Perfect. But that's enough of my stuff.
Hey, Ninja Toe, good to see you.
Yep, nice to see you as always.
Yeah.
Also, if you are catching us on the replay, first off, you should join the crowd because we answer questions and respond. Yes. But also, if you're coming here because you watched our Prey review that's going to go up later, yes. You can tell that we did these right back to back with each other because we're wearing the same shirts.
Yes. But yeah, that'll go up probably on Friday. So so go and check that out. And hey, Creators Outlet, good to see you, man.
Hey.
But yeah, check out Orca Princess, or Champion of the Orca Princess, I should say. I'm actually I haven't had a chance to tell you this yet, DV, but I'm finally got back into reading Magpie Wizard. So I'm a couple of chapters into the first book.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yes, which is also available if you just look up DB Fastbinder on Amazon and just buy anything that looks cool.
Yes, indeed. Right. So if you're new to the show, as DB was saying, we usually talk about entertainment news of the day, and then we'll get into do a little box office analysis. But we always start every show with our thing of the week. And
yes.
DB, I think you're gonna. Yeah. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say because it's too easy to get so caught up in who said what and numbers and everything. That's good to just enjoy some entertainment periodically and ground yourself in it. Remind yourself, oh right, this isn't just different politics.
Yes. Although in my case, I didn't really enjoy myself. But we'll get to me in a little bit.
Well, it can't all be winners. Speaking of winners, Bullet Train. So Bullet Train launched last weekend, and I went to the theater by myself for the first time in a while, just because I'm taking some time off, and I was bored Friday, so I said, well, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out that where I live, a matinee is $13, so that's a reason why not.
That's about where it is where I am.
Yeah. Apparently Tuesday is the cheap day to go, but I never think to go to the movies on a Tuesday, which is probably why it's the cheap day to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Brad Pitt's Bullet Train. This was basically apparently this is based on a novel. It's about a group of assassins and hired thugs who go on who are on this bullet train in Japan, and they're all after the same briefcase. And as the movie unfolds, you find out more and more about the ridiculous circumstances that have brought them all together.
Ah.
Um, it's very much in that sort of Quentin Tarantino style, or is it Smash, the Guy Ritchie one with like the uh, you want a free dag?
Yeah. The Guy Ritchie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's very much in that style. Like a character gets introduced, they have like a big, bold thing. Boom. Like the Scorpion. I don't. Oh no. The like this woman back here is like she's named like the Yellow Jacket, which I noticed that they have a kind of. This is a really busy thing when I look at it.
Yeah, it is.
That almost looks like I think it's supposed to be a lizard, but it almost looks like a Yellow Jacket tail, which is a nice detail, if intentional. Like she's like the Wasp or the Yellow Jacket, and she kills people with a particular type of poison. Like everybody has their own little gimmick. It's I would call it's I think it's for the director of Daredevil, or not Daredevil, Deadpool 2, as I recall.
Okay.
So it's got, or it's either Deadpool 1 or Deadpool 2. I don't recall, and I don't care to look it up.
I will look it up. So continue to.
But he, so it has kind of like a comedic bent to it. It's very bloody, very profane, very ridiculous. It's I was talking to my dad. I saw this and Prey over the weekend. If I was going to recommend you watch one of these two movies, it'd be Bullet Train. Don't bring Mom along. Because she would get offended.
Yes. Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. Okay. Now I've heard one person say it's like a poor man's Guy Ritchie. I can't necessarily disagree, because it is a little bit bloated. But I think part of that is it being. I doubt they introduce new characters, but like every character has little quirks. Like these two here are the twins. It's not clear why, like how they grew up together, but I think they treat each other like they're actually twins. Which like there was that one couple in Germany who it was like a white man and a black woman, black man and a white woman in Germany, who they had two sets of twins, and each twin had one white skinned kid and one had one black skinned kid. So it isn't entirely impossible.
Yeah.
But like just an example, kind of the weirdness you get in the movie. This guy here is obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine. He judges everybody based on Thomas the Tank Engine. Like, oh, you know what? You're a Percy because you're young and energetic, but you don't always, know what you're doing. Sometimes you need to be quiet. Now the diesels are the worst. They just make noise and are just a bother to everyone. Now that's funny, like the first time, but this movie does not believe in the comedy rule of threes.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. Like a few of the jokes, like there are a couple of jokes, running gags that overstay their welcome.
Oh.
There's one about these two's code names that the writer and director would tell you, "Oh yeah, we paid that off." Like, no.
No.
You think you did, but no. But on the flip side, Brad Pitt is extremely likable in the role. He's just like he comes across as a kind of almost aged hippie. Like he's basically a bagman who he doesn't like kill people. He's the only person there who isn't a hired killer. Exactly. And he's just a bagman he just does deliveries for shady people, and that gets him into this nonsense.
Oh, okay.
Another cute little detail is that Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, both make minor cameos in this movie. And Brad Pitt appeared in their movie, The Lost City, that came out earlier this year.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
A lot of people did, but it looks decent enough. But so there's some suspicion that these two movies were filmed back to back, where they just said, "Hey, you be in my movie, I'll be in your movie."
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a bad performance in the mix. Some characters don't. Well, I mean, by the nature of a violent gun movie like this. There's a lot of characters who don't necessarily get to be past their first scene, but they make an impression.
Yeah. All right.
So so I will say, if you don't mind, I go in with the expectation, okay, there are going to be a couple of jokes that overstay their welcome. Maybe your mileage will vary. Stick it out, because I feel like there's like a silly half, and then there's a serious half, and the serious half is good. Some of the CGI is kind of, I remember thinking to myself, oh, F you at one point, like with one of the ridiculous things that Brad Pitt survives.
Oh, okay.
Towards the end.
Okay.
And if you watch it, I think you will know which bit I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, like I'd give it a B.
Okay.
Solid enough, recommend, just not perfect.
All right. Sounds cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed, for the most part, enjoyed your thing of the week. Me, on the other hand. So Lightyear dropped
poor
on,
man.
Yeah, I know. So Lightyear dropped on Disney Plus last week, and I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna watch this and see what the hubbub is about, and see how bad it is, see if it's really that bad, or okay.
So that's a happy, right? Like, you're so full of joy and enthusiasm that it loops around to the other end. It comes out as a tired grunt.
No. No. So this. Now I have been spoiled by it, so I knew what was going to happen. But even then, like even if I hadn't been spoiled, I probably wouldn't have liked it. So the movie starts off, it opens with a card. It says, in 1995, a boy named Andy saw a movie that made him a Buzz Lightyear fan, and this was that movie.
And Andy never seemed like he was that put together as an adult, and now I think we understand why.
Yeah, well, it could be it, no, this was not the movie that he would have. This was not a movie from the mid-90s.
Yeah, that animated one would have been the movie he saw.
Right. Well, I think I mentioned this to you as I was watching it. This was not the movie he would have seen that made him a Buzz Lightyear fan. What he would have seen was the Buzz Lightyear Star Command cartoon show. Mm-hmm. Because most people know, in the 80s and 90s, cartoon shows geared towards kids were basically 30-minute commercials for toys.
Right.
That's probably what he would have watched. He would have watched that cartoon show.
Actually, you know what? Yeah. This, so there would have been the cartoon show. And this would have been the misguided live action thing they made along the lines of the Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe movie. They even dropped, it isn't even that movie was Masters of the Universe, right? It wasn't even He-Man in the Masters of the Universe. Just like, this is just Lightyear, not Buzz Lightyear. It's perfect.
Yes, exactly. That was exactly that was the exact same thought I had. I'm like, this is Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe. Because and anybody who's seen that movie will know, the characters from He-Man that were in that movie don't look anything like the toys or they're from the cartoon show. And then they threw in a bunch of other characters that were terrible and nobody liked them. And that's exactly what they did here. All the characters here are so unlikable. Even Buzz is unlikable. How do you do that? Oof. It's just okay. The cat was okay. The cat's okay. Socks is his name, and we were talking before. It is an acronym for something. They show what the acronym, because his name is on his paw, and I can't remember what it was, and I can't be bothered to remember or look it up.
Symphony of Xylophones.
Yes, Symphony of Xylophones. Yes, but like all the other characters, they're all idiots. They're stupid. And I can't remember their names. The worst one is the one that Taika Waititi plays.
That'd be the one in the far back there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. In the far back. Yeah. He's a total idiot. he does the typical, oh, I'm Taika Waititi, I'm, I talk really funny, and then, like, no, since, and then, then you have the old lady who's an ex-con, and, she's very forgettable. And then the girl on the end is, so the whole plot of the movie is, she's the girl next to Buzz. She's the granddaughter of Buzz's best friend in the Space Rangers.
Oh
yeah.
God, that was the one with the autism magic, right?
Yes, that's that one. But so what happens is they go to this planet. They're in this big ship, and they go to this planet to study it and do all this other stuff. And then problem is the planet is dangerous, and they have to leave. And then Buzz accidentally damages the ship, and they crash. And so they spend. So they're trying to figure out how to get off the planet, and they have to create their own hyperspace fuel thing. And they they flash forward a year, and then they've got something, and then they test it, and it doesn't work. And then when Buzz comes back from space to do it, 4 years have gone by. And
relativity,
yes, exactly. And so then you have this montage of him going into space, testing out all the different fuels, and then time flying by. So that's why time flies by the way it does. And it's just, and the problem is, like, again, like the characters are just not likable, and it's just like, why should I care?
Well, what's really funny is that we made our Masters of the Universe comparison there. It all takes place on one planet, right? Basically.
Yes. Yeah, it's all on one planet. Yeah.
That feels like the type of move they would make to save the budget.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so then he gets to at the end of it, and his friend passes away, and then this other new commander comes in and says, "Oh, well, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to put this shield up over the planet to protect us from the plants and the wildlife, and we're good." But Buzz doesn't like that, and so and the cat is his therapy cat. Robot therapy cat, but then he has the cat figure out the space formula, and just as the commander puts the kibosh on Buzz going out in the space again, that's when the cat figures out the formula. And so you have this whole thing where he's trying to get everybody off the planet, and then Zurg shows up, and and of course, spoilers, if anybody cares about spoilers, one of the dumbest plot twists ever. Zurg is old Buzz.
So he's Jake Skywalker and Darth Vader all in one.
Yes. And so this is just, I mean, when you think of Buzz, because like when you think of like Tim Allen's, like, by the way, Tim Allen not voicing Buzz Lightyear is the least of this movie's problems.
Do you think it was written, like the lines themselves, do you think they're written assuming Tim Allen was going to be saying them? Like adding that extra little bit of comedy and humanity?
No, it didn't. When you think of, because like, I am Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger. Like he didn't have any moments like that. He's just this, like he was more like Chris Pine's Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of guilt, and all that.
Which, I mean, that's fine for a particular type of movie, but. Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem like it fits this character.
No, it doesn't. It's Buzz Lightyear is, he's we've been saying this before. He's kind of like Zap Brannigan in Futurama.
Mm-hmm.
And
kid-friendly, competent one.
Yes, kid-friendly, competent one. Yeah, and that's not this Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, it's.
So now that you have seen it, would you say that I've heard the thought, oh, this isn't meant for kids. This is meant for adults who grew up with Buzz Lightyear. Now that they've kind of gotten old and sad.
Yeah, I would say that's the case. Yeah, this doesn't seem like a kids movie to me, and that's what that was the other part of the thing when I was watching this movie. I'm like, who's this movie for? It's not for kids. Yeah, it's not for little kids. It's not for it's definitely for probably for people like millennials like you and me, or older millennials I should say, who are grew up with Toy Story and want to see a Buzz Lightyear movie. But that's not this movie.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well-
So I cannot recommend you watch this movie. It's just and of course they do there's like a post-credit scene that's meant to set up a sequel, but they're not going to do a sequel.
Okay, so what kind of sequel were they setting up?
Well, Buzz defeats Zurg in space, and
Right.
Zurg is, and the last shot is Zurg floating around and then coming back to life. That's it.
Well, okay. So let's talk. So I think that sounds like your review, to quote Mickey from the Rocky series, was, "It's a waste of life."
Yes.
And we'll use Lightyear in a minute to talk about something. But first off, as is our custom, let's take a quick look at the box office for this weekend.
Yes.
And a couple of interesting things here.
Yeah.
Bullet Train was number one. It's not necessarily doing as well as you think they would hope, because it's now it's doing pretty well nationally and internationally. We're looking at this isn't just the weekend. This is like through yesterday. We're looking at about 71 million international on a budget of 85, an oddly specific 85,900,000. Yeah, that's strange. You don't usually see a non-round number like that.
Yeah, it's usually it's
So that honestly makes me more likely to believe it. That's accurate.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing advertisements for this, I swear, since let's see, when did I go to my first movie this year? It was probably when I went to see some anime movie with my friends. They were having advertisements for this.
Okay.
I've been seeing trailers for this for a while, so they probably had a pretty decent budget. Like it's got a shot at making its money back at this point, just because what else is competing with it in August?
Yeah, nothing really. Yeah.
And it sounds like it's got pretty decent word of mouth. It's trending on the lower end of its daily projection, but it's not doing awful. And it also benefited from that bonus Tuesday we've discussed before.
Right.
That's always a positive sign for the movie, is when it shoots up a bit. It almost I added an extra 50% easily, or 50% or so Monday over Tuesday, because a movie has awful word of mouth when people stop or don't go on bonus night.
Yeah.
And that it's basically exhausted its goodwill in the first weekend, like Doctor Strange did.
Yes, and probably Thor.
Thor actually managed to buck that trend.
Oh, okay, Thor. Okay.
Shockingly. Now to bring up, let's just beat up on Lightyear here for a minute, because it's still technically in theaters. Or is it? Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
Way down there, like number 20, a little less than 100,000 over the weekend from 280 theaters. Now let's go ahead and man, it is nowhere near its trend line anymore. Now, if you were like young DB and you just thought the studio got everything that they got from the theater, it's like, oh well, 200 million budget, 217 million worldwide, it's a cool $17 million profit. Nope, not how that works.
No.
Okay, we'll bring up our old pal, the calculator.
Yes.
And if we were extremely generous to this movie and said, "Oh, they didn't market it too heavily because they knew what they had on their hands,"
Yeah.
so we'll just say that they, did 1.5 times, even though it's kind of unrealistic anymore.
Mhm.
And then, they get, if we'll say that they get half back of what they earned there. So congratulations, missed it by a little.
Missed it by a little.
600 million for those of you who aren't looking at the screen.
Ooh. Yeah.
Even if we go back to our old numbers here and assume the old 0.6, yeah, 500 million to break even. It's just that some videos from Valiant Renegade have pointed out that AMC is not paying back 60% anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because movie studios are only leaving their movies in theaters for 45 days instead of 90.
Yes, exactly. So they're willing to pay less.
Yes.
And what's funny is that, remember when 2020 happened and everybody was like, "Oh man, this, streaming forever. This is the end of movie theaters. Nobody's ever going to go to the movies again." So AMC and Regal, they're just doomed. We can just, we can totally release things digital first and just totally bypass them.
Oh yeah.
But that didn't last long.
No, it didn't.
What they've kind of had to figure out is, oh, I guess we still need them.
Yep. Yeah, because those streaming numbers are not don't translate to bucks usually.
Yes, the only people who really make money off of streaming are what do you call it? Are Netflix.
Yes.
And even that's a thin profit, which they're
Yeah.
trying to enhance.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk a little bit about. So of course, Disney wants to avoid that.
Mhm.
Now, one thing is that their growth has actually slowed a bit. Now, if you were to just look at some of the headlines, you'd see, oh, Disney Plus added 6 million subscribers. They're doing great.
Mhm.
That's internationally. Nationally, they added 100,000 instead of the 1.5 million they'd added the quarter before.
Ooh.
Now, the question is that stagflation, or is that about, accounting for usual churn, about probably like 1 million people canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions because of things like Lightyear, which
Yeah.
you completely bypassed the thing that people found objectionable, which proves that you don't have to find that objectionable to not like that movie.
Yeah.
But it certainly didn't help.
Yeah.
So since Disney is still losing hundreds of millions of dollars on streaming every quarter, guess what? Price hike.
Yep.
So
Not a small one either. It's a good one.
yeah, Hulu is going up from. So Disney basically owns Hulu. It's like 70% ownership with a 30% split on from Comcast, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
And so they're doing a couple of interesting things. So first off, ad-supported tier of Hulu is going from $6.99 to $7.99. Ad-free is going from $12.99 to $14.99. So still not cheap, but not a huge percentage jump.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Disney Plus is going from $7.99 to $10.99. That's almost 50% more.
Yeah.
But don't worry, there'll still be a way to pay $7.99. You just got to put up with ads.
Yeah.
It sounds like these changes, these changes go into effect. Let's see here.
End of the year, I think.
December 8th.
Yeah.
Hulu gets more expensive on October 10th. So if you want to stock up, now's the time to see if you can get yourself a Verizon phone plan to get Disney Plus for free. Or, by the way, I own stock. I own a little bit of stock in Verizon. This is not me trying to juice my numbers. Just the last I heard, Verizon was giving away Disney Plus.
I think that's right. Yeah.
For a year.
Yeah.
Although expect that to be the ad-supported version at some point.
Yeah.
Because they actually this type of thing, they actually will make more money from regular viewers who have ads than the ones that don't.
Yeah. It's because they can charge like whatever they want for advertising space. And although if I were although I'm assuming all the shows are going to be that they'll have on Disney Plus will be their own original content. They're not going to show anybody else's stuff.
Oh, like they're not going to let HBO Max advertise the next Justice League movie on there or whatever.
Yeah,
I assume so.
Yeah.
If my experience with the pay tier or if the ad-supported tier of Paramount Plus and Tubi is to be believed, expect to see a lot of Procter & Gamble.
Mm. Well, they can afford it.
Yeah, apparently I heard somewhere that Procter & Gamble slashed all their regular TV ads and are going all in on streaming ads, which frankly means that the ads are much better than what's on YouTube.
That's true. Yeah. And hey, D Rhino, good to see you.
Hey. So this is Disney's attempt to make this whole streaming thing more profitable for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are also ads saying that what do you call it? That Disney has more streaming subscribers than Netflix. They're kicking ass. Yeah, you got to add Disney, Hulu, and ESPN together for that. And ESPN is cheating.
Yeah. Well, and like Hulu, Disney doesn't totally own ESPN.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who the other company is that owns ESPN. I know that Rasmussen, the polling people, they started ESPN.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, who you can basically trust on factual things that aren't political, owned jointly by the Walt Disney Company at 80% and Hearst Communications at 20%.
Okay.
And yep, it was founded in 1979 by Bill Rasmussen.
Yeah.
And honestly, a polling firm, I would expect them to know what people actually wanted. So any business they start is probably a good idea.
Yeah. But it's and I think I wonder if they'll still offer that Disney, Hulu, ESPN Plus bundle.
Unclear. I mean, I think they were trying to do that a lot. I think they were trying to do that a lot earlier this year to juice their numbers for the quarterly reports. Like, hey, look at all these new streaming things. Like, we got to, of course, some people who had Hulu were forced to get Disney Plus because they raised the price of the bundle and didn't offer what they had without the bundle. So that's a trick you can only do so often.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I will say that watching some things with a couple of ads, as long as the ads aren't awful, it actually isn't as bad as I remembered it being.
Okay.
So like our new ad-supported future isn't necessarily the worst thing.
Yeah. I will say I have the ad Hulu for the ad tier with Hulu. Some of them can be a little annoying.
Is it as bad as YouTube ads?
Not quite, but
then again,
close.
The YouTube algorithm decided some interesting things about me at some point. And like I would log into YouTube on my Xbox or the Xbox at my friend's house when we were showing each other videos that we had liked for the week, and we see the ads and like, TB, what is wrong with your ads? I get video games and VTubers and anime and technology. Like you're getting Stacey Abrams haranguing you and awful looking streaming shows and just like all sorts of other junk.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, if you live stream on StreamYard, you'll probably see a lot of StreamYard ads.
Yeah. It's not like you're currently ad free anyway, since I know Amazon likes to slip in long commercials for other shows when you're just trying to watch a darn movie.
Oh yeah. HBO Max does that too.
Yeah, like are you watching Top Gun? Hey, here's there's another new season of Magnificent Ms. Maisel coming out.
No.
I don't think that was literally what they tried to show me, but it was similarly off kilter.
Yeah.
Which I still have not actually seen that movie because I watched like 2 minutes and got busy. But maybe for next week. Apparently this would be the weekend to go see Maverick because just to talk about its ridiculous success, just to jump back slightly. They're doing a special edition with some behind the scenes stuff as like a one-time weekend thing to try to get people to come back to it again. Also, let's look at these numbers. It's like Nope still has no international release, that's what's going to make it profitable if and when that happens. But movies 4, 5, and 6, Thor: Love and Thunder, Minions: Rise of Gru, Top Gun: Maverick are separated by less than $1 million. Top Gun: Maverick has been in theaters twice as long as Thor. It has been in theaters as long as Thor and Minions combined.
Jeez. Oh man.
This is going to tie into our theme of the audience kind of knows what they want, so give it to them.
Yes.
So more things like Top Gun: Maverick. Now, so over here, you understand, like the Disney Plus launched at $6.99. I remember thinking at the time that seemed a little low.
I thought so too. Yeah.
That's like niche streaming service, like a Crunchyroll or something.
Or Shudder. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, oh, we have a much smaller library. We know there are choices elsewhere. So we're going to price accordingly so that we can be your third streaming service because you have a niche interest. Which, incidentally, you know what the absolute cheapest streaming service that's an actual streaming service is available is?
What's that?
Curiosity Stream.
Really?
It's like $2 a month or $24 a year. Because all they have are nature specials.
Wow.
So if you want to learn about dinosaurs or black holes or things like that, not a bad thing to throw on. If I were a parent, I would 100% have that, and that would be the first thing I would drop my kids into.
Yeah.
So just to get the word out, we are not sponsored by Curiosity Stream, though a lot of other YouTubers are.
Yes.
So maybe go look up Tirzu videos and see if you can find a clip of his just to get a little bit of extra scratch.
Yeah. And there's another guy, Thoughty2. He's a British guy. Usually wears suspenders. He's got a mustache. He does a lot of like historical videos and stuff. I think he's sponsored by Curiosity. So.
Yep. So if you decide to sign up for that, go find somebody with a thing to put in.
Yes.
But anyhow, so that's basically this story. Disney is trying. Disney Plus is still a big money hole, and so that means that people might go, oh well, Encanto completely bombed at the box office, which it did. Because they released it on a 30-day thing. So, of course, almost nobody went to go see it. It comes out in November. You have a big family, and November you have a lot of family events happening in November for a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah. Wait for 30 days and watch it over Christmas break.
Yeah.
Now, it became very popular on streaming, but it did not become financially profitable because, again, Disney Plus, big money pit. So yeah, it's one of those things where you just have to, where there's a lot of people questioning how, but investors in these big studios have been satisfied to go along with subscriber count. The subscriber count is the metric we care about. You know what that reminds me of? I've been around long enough to hear about this before. It's the 90s and it's an exciting new website. What's your click count?
Oh yeah.
Or what's your viewer count? How many eyeballs? I think eyeballs was the measurement they were using.
Eyeballs, yes.
Never mind that you weren't making money.
Yeah. It's just like who's looking at it?
Yeah. How many people do you have looking at it? It's a similar type of thing where the first step is to get eyeballs on you. That's true. But at some point, those eyeballs have to be paying you enough money to make it worthwhile.
Yes. Yeah.
Which we were going to talk about Ezra Miller's continued nonsense first, but I think the natural flow of the conversation is actually going to put us into our old pal Kevin Smith. Now, Headline: DC superfan Kevin Smith calls Batgirl cancellation an incredibly bad look. Now, let's lay out some cards about Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I still have a warm place in my heart for Kevin Smith, specifically Dogma, and I love him as Jay and Silent Bob. I sound like a fake geek girl. I love him as Silent Bob in anything with Jay and Silent Bob involved with it. Although I have not seen the newer stuff, although I've heard middling to good things. Dogma, Dogma's one of my favorites. And as far as it goes, he did very good runs on, very good stories for Daredevil and Green Arrow that I loved back in the early 2000s when I was buying trade paperbacks at Barnes & Noble with my cash register paycheck. So, Kevin Smith, you've earned a place, and he's a good raconteur. His story about the nightmare trying to make a Superman movie with Nicolas Cage is a wonderful show that I say anybody with an interest in Hollywood behind the scenes, which would explain why you're here, should go watch immediately. So that's my take on it. That's where I come into it with it. Also, I am.
This is the guy who made one of the worst main characters in history. Human Revelations would have done 10 times better with better written Tila as protagonist. Yeah.
Yes. So, I was getting there.
yeah.
I'm just saying, laying on my biases. In my heart of hearts, I want to like Kevin Smith and listen to what he has to say. Even with the nonsense around He-Man, I have to. I can, and even with him crying about everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and Rise of Skywalker made me cry. I mean, it made me cry too, but for different reasons than you're talking.
Yeah. It made me cry for the money I spent to buy on the movie ticket.
Yeah. You ever watch the YouTube channel Rerez?
No.
They're interesting. They used to do stuff with that guy with the glasses, though they were like late generations. They weren't tainted. It's a video game channel where they talk about a lot of obscure consoles, fake things, but they have a series called Just Bad Games. And one of the recurring jokes is they have a little ghost that appears with a $ sign on it. I'm the ghost of the money you wasted on this game. So yeah, that ghost made me cry for the 3rd Disney Star Wars movie.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, 5th if you count.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's my bias coming into this. Daniel, where are you coming into this from?
Well, I can't say that I've ever really been a fan of his. I'm trying to think if I've seen any of his movies, and it's probably gonna make me sound like a fake geek, but I don't think I have seen any of his movies. I've seen, I don't know. It's just, to me, he always struck me as being kind of full of himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even before his health issues and everything that came with it, he always just kind of like, I don't know. He always really rubbed me the wrong way, and I could never, just kind of, it's sort of like, it's kind of how I feel about, like, I have the same feeling about Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
It's just like,
See, he also has that side to him too. I used to have a DVD of him interviewing Stan Lee. And okay, so you have a stage with Kevin Smith and Stan Lee, and they're talking about the history of comics. Whose voice do you want to hear more?
Stan Lee.
Guess who kept interrupting and loudly going, uh-huh. Like, even at the time, I noticed that he was interjecting a little too much.
Yeah.
So laid it out there.
Yeah.
I have no vendetta against Kevin Smith. I don't think you have a specific vendetta against Kevin Smith.
No.
So anything we say here is just like us responding to anybody else.
Yeah.
So, as a sequel to last week's thing, Disney superfan Kevin Smith calls Batgirl cancellation an incredibly bad look. Quote, "It's an incredibly bad look to cancel the Latina Batgirl movie. You know what I'm saying?" Smith opines. "I don't give an S if the movie was absolutely effing dog shit." Oh, damn it. I was doing so good. Sorry,
You're
algorithm.
doing all right. That's okay. It's okay.
And I guarantee you that it wasn't. The two directors who directed that movie did a couple episodes of Ms. Marvel, and it was a wonderful effing show. And they had more money to do Batgirl than they had to do an episode of Ms. Marvel and stuff. Okay, so the argument he's making is it's twofold.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad look to cancel Latina Batgirl movie, even if it was awful.
Well, I mean, that's the other way to look at that, though, is, and I've heard this argument from other people like Midnight's Edge, for example, is, well, they canceled the movie to save her career. Because I mean, I'll be honest, I've never heard of this actress before.
I've heard her described as a star of that one flop Warner Brothers musical, In the Heights.
Okay. If anything, them canceling if this movie's horrible, this might end up saving her career. It could save her career. I mean, because. Right. Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want is to be attached to a bad superhero movie. I mean, just off the top of my head, like, a lot of people probably don't remember this or may have forgotten, but there was a Supergirl movie that came out in the mid '80s, and who was the actress who played Supergirl in that movie? Exactly. Exactly. Nobody remembers her.
See, your mind went to a different place than mine did. I was thinking, no one ever quite looked at Halle Berry the same way after she played Catwoman.
Oh yeah, that too.
And she became the first person to accept an Oscar one year and then a Razzie the next.
Yeah.
In person.
In person, yeah.
Which shows that she has a game sense of humor about it. But yeah, these things, and even being in a good superhero thing, used to be career poison.
Mm-hmm.
Like Adam West spent all those years trying to convince people to give him work because he wasn't Batman. Darn it.
Yeah, and Christopher Reeve, same thing. You know, he was attached to Superman, and although he had some good roles here and there, but I mean, when everybody think of him, they think of Superman.
Yep. Richard Meyer over at Comics Matter has talked about how in the 70s, people would just flip out if you were known as one character, that like one very distinctive character, and you tried to do anything else.
Yeah.
Like, wait, you can't be in that. You're Columbo.
Yeah.
You can't be a bad guy in this other movie. That confuses me.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's the first part. Like, I could have saved her career, like you said. I hadn't thought of that angle, but yeah, it could be very damaging. Also, her being specifically Latina, to my mind, doesn't have much to do with the movie's quality, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And now the second part of that, and I guarantee you that it wasn't. The two directors who directed that movie did a couple of episodes of Ms. Marvel, and it was a wonderful effing show. Citation needed. My dad liked it, but
yeah, I mean, just because just because a director directs a couple episodes of TV show doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good movie director. Rian Johnson.
Yes. And I think Josh Trank even did a few episodes of Breaking Bad too, as I recall.
Yeah.
You might remember him for a little movie called Fant Four Stick and not Boba Fett like he was supposed to do.
Yes.
Although I have a feeling that his Boba Fett would have been better than Book of, but that's either here nor there.
Yeah.
So anyways. So no, I don't think, and also, I mean, Ms. Marvel was not to my taste. I know people who liked it, including Cameron Pasha over from, he mentioned this a few times over at Midnight's Edge and other shows.
Yeah.
But it was also the least watched Disney Plus original.
Yes.
Or at least not Marvel original, I should say.
Yeah. The other thing too, and speaking of Midnight's Edge, they also directed the third Bad Boys movie,
which I heard was good.
Yeah, I did too. I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so Smith continues, and the big complaint they said here is like, well, wasn't it big enough to be an effing theatrical release? Man, he was salty about a movie that a lot of people
Yeah.
didn't even know existed. It looked too cheap because it was a $90 million movie. How do you make a cheap looking $90 million effing movie? Well, yeah, gee, that's funny because I would have thought that two directors who had done such good work on Ms. Marvel and they had more money to do Batgirl than had an episode of Ms. Marvel and stuff would be able to take $90 million and make it look good.
Yeah,
It's like they're different skill sets or something.
Yeah. Imagine that.
I know it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you make a cheap looking 90 million effing movie? That's what Zaslav wanted to know.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Now, Kevin had partially a reason to be salty himself. There was a DC anthology show called Strange Adventures that was going straight to HBO Max that got scrapped, and he had written an episode of it, which I would have liked to see this episode. So, like I mentioned earlier, he tried to write a Superman movie that would have starred Nicolas Cage in the 90s. So they were planning to do an episode of that one about Jimmy Olsen and Bizarro, with Bizarro played by Nicolas Cage, which that's even better casting than making Nicolas Cage Superman, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be perfect as Bizarro.
Oh, yeah. I have seen Nicolas Cage in that Superman outfit.
Yeah, that was a weird fit.
Yeah.
Well, he really wanted it. I think his son's name was even Kal-El.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But so yeah, am I sad that we didn't get to see that? Yes, much sadder than I am that we didn't get to see Batgirl.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyways, so he was unhappy about that, but he said, however, he concedes that the cancellation, quote, kind of made sense because it was an expensive series based on obscure characters. But he questions, who the F don't know Batgirl? So I pulled up some reasonable comparisons, I think, of what you could expect. So first off, this is a Batgirl being introduced in her own movie. This isn't even like, well, imagine an alternate universe where there was a Batgirl in the, in the Dark Knight. Like, let's say that there was a subplot that introduced a Batgirl in the Dark Knight or the Dark Knight Rises, and that character just caught on. Huge fan websites, lots of Twitter and Facebook chatter about, oh man, that new Batgirl that came out in this movie is amazing. It's a shame we're not getting more Christopher Nolan Batman movies, but we should get something with her.
Yeah.
I think that's an excuse to make a Batgirl movie because you've introduced her to the audience.
Yeah. I kind of remember. I kind of remember something similar with Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. I think there were some people who were like that wanted an Anne Hathaway Catwoman movie. Or am I remembering things?
You might be right. I know there was. I know that the Halle Berry Catwoman movie started life as an Alicia Silverstone Catwoman movie.
Yeah, and it kind of bounced off from Michelle Pfeiffer when she played her.
No, Alicia Silverstone was Batgirl.
Right. Yeah, Alicia Silverstone.
Getting my 90s actresses mixed up. My bad.
That's all right. Yeah, it was Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, when she played Catwoman in Batman Returns. Yeah.
But let's say that you're just introducing, and also you have a big international audience that wouldn't have seen Adam West, that wouldn't necessarily know. They wouldn't have the memories of the DC animated universe. They wouldn't have other versions of that character to introduce them to the concept.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to call it the mom dragged along audience.
Yeah.
So what's like a fair comparison of how popular Batgirl is? I thought about that this afternoon, and I concluded that comic book sales would actually be a pretty reasonable comparison point. Because it's just of gauging relative popularity. This might be slightly flawed because it is still a core fan base, but this might even be even better because it tells you, okay, how relatively popular compared to Batman is Batgirl among the core fan base. So I picked a random month out of my hat in 2019, pre-pandemic, just so we, actually have numbers. So in April of 2019, uh,
Okay.
there were 3 Batman books in the top 10. There was the Batman Who Laughs, alternate universe Batman, who everybody seems to have completely forgotten now. Basically, OP Joker.
Yeah.
And then there were 2 Batman issues that came out that month from the same series, because they were, Tom King's Batman came out bi-monthly. Both issues dropped in at around 88,000 on average. So I'm going to be fair and not add those together to 170,000 because it's technically people wanting the same thing.
Yeah.
So that would just be unfair.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the stronger number here. Get our old friend the calculator out. So 88,000. We'll go ahead and divide that by, then our old friend Control F. Batgirl. Batgirl sold 28,271. So that means that by that metric with the core fan base, Batman is roughly 3 times as popular as Batgirl. Now, let's say that we take so let's see what a Batman movie that doesn't have any sort of franchise to it draws in 2022. And our answer there is The Batman.
Yes.
So we have roughly 3. I'm going to round it to 3.2 to be nice.
Okay.
So 3.2, so it's going to be, and we'll just go round this up to 770 to make it round numbers. Because the Batman made about 770 at the box office worldwide. We'll divide that by, actually it's nicer to divide by a smaller number. So I'll make it just a flat 3. We'll say that Batman is roughly 3 times as popular as Batgirl when he isn't tied into a bigger franchise.
Okay.
So that means that we could possibly expect a Batgirl movie to make about $260 million.
And Batgirl had a budget of probably, what Kevin Smith said, probably about 90 million.
90 million, and it wasn't totally done yet.
Right.
And you had to do some reshoots, some re-edits, some advertisements. So that tells us this thing would have probably lost money.
Oh yeah.
If they decided to shift it over to theaters.
Yeah.
As opposed to quietly losing money by being an HBO Max original.
Yes.
Now, this isn't entirely scientific. You could choose different comparison points. You could say, okay, what's the, what if it did as well as Shang-Chi? That would still probably lose money for the budget we're talking about, or barely break even.
Yeah.
And that's assuming it was any good. Which, unlike Kevin Smith, I'm not. When I hear that the movie's bad, I'm willing to say that the movie was probably bad.
Yeah, the movie's probably bad. Yeah, and part of me is thinking that Kevin is doing a bit of virtue signaling, particularly with pointing out the fact that Batgirl is Latina.
Yeah. Also, frankly, he's probably kissing a little hinder to, say, hey, I'm cool. I understand why you fired me from that job. It's kind of rough what you did to this girl here. I'm upset on her behalf, not on mine. Please hire me for future things.
Yeah.
He's that's kind of who he is at this point.
Oh yeah.
But overall, what this is basically a lot of people still kind of reacting to the new Warner Brothers, which I love this. I love this here.
Oh yeah, that is cool.
This cover here. It looks like a comic book cover with Zaslav playing chess with different franchises. There's Guy Fieri next between Scooby-Doo and Harry Potter.
Yeah, Smaug.
Yeah, and Batman. Yeah. But the headline says it all. David Zaslav's Hollywood doctrine: make sure we get paid.
Yeah.
Because it turns out that paying $90 million for a movie to throw it up on a streaming service, not a wise move.
No.
At least not on a monetarily responsible move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they lost so much money last year. Like I appreciate being able to see Mortal Kombat and Kong and that one horror movie with the backwards person that I can't remember the name of now without having to buy a ticket.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
Warner Brothers lost so much money on that scheme.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I definitely like not being able to having to buy a movie ticket for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Yes, because that movie did not deserve my movie ticket.
Right.
Technically, they would have made more money off of me. So assuming that, because HBO Max is still a money pit, they would have made more money off of me pirating it because I wouldn't have taxed their servers at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so I kind of like Zaslav's approach. He
Mhm.
basically wants to. It seems like everybody a couple years back declared, oh, cable TV, linear television, which is basically just television that isn't on demand,
Mhm.
even on demand TV, it's dead. There's no point in it anymore. Let's not make things for it. He's going, wait. Like, there's still millions of people watching this, even if there's less of them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's monetize it. And
Mhm.
Warner Brothers has like the biggest content library in the world. Like, well, wait, if we have these old movies and TV shows, we don't even have them on HBO Max. Why not rent them out to other people?
Yeah.
Actually monetize them, get a few $100 million a year easily that way for no effort.
Yes.
I think I forgot if I mentioned this last week, but it was very funny watching different reactions to that Batgirl cancellation. People
Mhm.
who came at it from a creator's first mindset were like, "No, all those people's hard work is ruined, and the movie never gets to come out now." Well, first off,
Yeah.
everybody got paid to at least some extent,
Yeah.
but also, you know, uh, we don't want the Batgirl actress, who was very generous about it, by the way. Very,
Yes. Yeah, she was. Yeah.
we don't want her to end up with that Halle Berry stain on her career.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so I like David Zaslav's approach. He's basically he's going, well, wait, why are we putting things to HBO Max and not putting them on HBO too? Because HBO actually makes money.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty. I think a subscription to HBO on cable is like $30 to $50 a month or something like that.
Oof. Which means as long as you're getting good shows off of it, it's worthwhile.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think it includes Cinemax too.
Yeah, so like to make things for that. Don't just so it's basically the tale of two companies. I think the biggest difference between the two of them is that WB has been drubbed for so long that you kind of have to have somebody who comes in with that mindset
Mhm.
of, we got to scrape every penny we can together, and we can't have things that damage the brand.
Yeah.
Because like, think about how long superhero movies suffered after the Batman movie that had Mr. Freeze in it.
Oh yeah, Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always want to say it's Batman Forever, but I'm always wrong.
Yeah. So to keep it straight, like Forever is Jim Carrey, the Riddler.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, the reason in my mind I always want to call the last one Forever is that Forever seems to be like a very popular '90s thing when it's the last movie in a franchise.
Yeah, and it would have been a perfect. It would
Yes.
have been perfect. Yeah, for
It's like,
that for that, but nope.
yeah, man, that went slightly too goofy. Better not ramp that up.
Yep.
But yeah, so anyways, hey Kevin, we said a couple of things. If you, I'm very unlikely, happen to be shown this, I still do like your creative output more or less, and I think that you are a funny guy and a good raconteur. Just we are allowed to disagree on things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although what everybody seems to agree on now, yes, my transition game is
Yes.
top gear tonight.
Still on point.
Warner Brothers weighing fate of the Flash as its Ezra Miller problem grows.
Yes.
So Daniel, I've been talking a lot. Tell us what he's been actually arrested, or not arrested for, but what he's being formally charged with.
He's being charged with felony burglary because he broke into somebody's house to steal booze.
Apparently, it was a family member.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that on Twitter, that headline was trending, I went, "Oh no, there's a body."
Yeah.
Or, "Oh no, they did a Waco-style raid on his weird cult thing up in Vermont."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. Hopefully that will not happen.
It almost sounds like they're doing some of the right things with getting him in. What do you call it? In some sort of rehab. His mom's been around more.
Mm-hmm.
And now, but now there's like out. I told you this earlier that someone over at, I think it was Tom over at Midnight's Edge, had the conspiracy theory. What if they cancel Batgirl first to make everybody go, well, why not? Why'd you cancel the one with the Latina Batgirl? You still have the one with Ezra Miller around, to try to drum up support for just canceling the movie outright.
Yeah. Yeah, little 4D chess there.
Yeah, which is possible. It also sounds like it's not necessarily as hard to reshoot as people are making it out, because most of the scenes were done in front of a green screen anyway. So you just get a new, like, imagine you made everybody happy and you brought in the Flash from the TV show. You just got to hit his marks, say the lines, and you might reshoot a couple of scenes with him in shots that weren't green screened.
Yeah. Yeah, and and it's not like there's no precedent for this. I mean, for a precedent for that, because a few years back, I've probably mentioned this before, but what was it? All the Money in the World was the name of the movie. It was about Getty. It was the richest man in the world at the time, and Getty was being played by Kevin Spacey. And then stuff came out about Kevin Spacey, and yeah.
Hey, it's okay. He came out. All's forgiven. That's how that works, right?
Right. Yeah. So Ridley Scott, who was the director of the movie, said, "Okay, we're going to take him out and we're going to replace him with Christopher Plummer." And they just basically CGI'd Christopher Plummer in all the scenes where Kevin Spacey was, and I think they reshot a few scenes with like Mark Wahlberg and some of the other cast with Plummer. But other than that, I mean, I don't think it was that difficult to do.
Yeah, and they did that with Zack Snyder's zombie movie that went to Netflix. They decided they didn't. I forget if they decided they just didn't like the guy, or if he had got accused of something. But they just reshot him, and the one actor or actress who replaced him, I forget if they just mentioned, "Yeah, I never met anybody else in the cast."
Yeah.
Now, this would be more. This would be more difficult on this Flash movie, because Ezra was playing 3 different characters. It's like one version of Barry Allen, alternate universe Barry Allen, then Professor Zoom. I mean, I say just recast 2 of those. Like, perfect villain material now.
Oh yeah. Oof.
But I think, as always, we hope that Ezra gets well before somebody else gets seriously hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Outside of the one lady he attacked and the other lady he attacked.
Oh God, yeah. The pregnant woman.
And the one he hit in the head in Hawaii.
Oh God, yeah, that one.
It's funny. Like, you went with a completely different example of recasting somebody with CGI. And I thought, and I was going to say, the fact that we could come up with multiple different examples proves that there is lots of precedent. The fact that we were thinking of entirely different ladies that Ezra Miller attacked shows you that there's a lot of examples of it.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah. It's a mess, and I don't see, and my guess is Zaslav and the rest of Warner Discovery are probably weighing all of their options to figure out what they should do about the Flash.
Yeah.
Probably, and they're probably doing the same thing with Aquaman 2 and you know who.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this one with Amber replaced by Gargura. Why not?
Yeah.
That would put some butts in seats, some confused butts in seats, but that would put butts in seats.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
At one point, there was talk of just replacing her with his mother from the first movie.
Oh yeah, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, because she's a character who's already been introduced, and you just redo a couple of lines so it doesn't sound romantic.
Yeah.
I think people. I think she. By the way, was I the one who noticed that movie and the Ant-Man Quantum movie, or the second Ant-Man movie, had basically the same plot with a mother stuck in another dimension? Both played by veteran actresses.
Yeah. I never noticed that. Yeah.
Actually, I almost wonder. Let's give me a moment here to find out.
Okay.
Let's see here. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer played Janet Van Dyne.
Okay, so it was different.
Yeah.
It would have just been too funny if they were the same actress.
Oh
yeah. I just couldn't remember, and both of them were wearing like the Janet Van Dyne from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think she came out wearing like a hoodie of some sort. So like she has like some sort of cowl on her hair, as I recall.
Okay. Yeah.
I like the Wasp costume.
Okay. Yeah. I've only seen that movie once, so I can't.
God, that was the movie where I just concluded that, man, everybody saying that the Marvel movies villains suck was right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like the most boring villain.
Yeah. Who?
I don't. It was like a minor Iron Man villain that they stole, like Ghost something, or like.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, oh, she had like a generically dark past, and oh no, her intangibility costume was killing her? ?
Right, and yeah, and then Lawrence Fishburne, I think, played what was his name?
Wow, I have absolutely no memory of that movie.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne was in it. He played like an old friend of Hank Pym's.
So speaking of that movie, remember that like I think it was like the Chinese FBI agent.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember when like in the first movie when he was very serious about his job, and then by the time he showed up again in WandaVision, he was a complete joke.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Man, I've always said that I would rather read an average Marvel comic than a good DC comic, just because I love the characters more. At this point, come on, DC.
Yeah.
It'd be so easy for you to win right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Godspeed, David Zaslav. You bathe all the blood you have to.
Yeah. Yep. He played Lawrence Fishburne played Dr. Bill Foster.
Yeah, that name means nothing to me.
Okay. I thought because I remember because I remember the line in the movie. I do remember them because it was in the trailer. They were talking about like with what's this with Paul Rudd's character. I can't remember. Scott Lang, when he they were both exchanging like, oh, how big did you get? And Lawrence Fishburne's like, oh, I got up to 50 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. But I remember him helping her. I remember Fishburne.
Yeah, like that sounds right.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah.
That's off topic. But
yes.
I think it's on topic in terms of how memorable like that movie soured me a little bit on Marvel. Not as much as Captain Marvel, but I didn't see that until after I'd seen Endgame, so I didn't get that. I didn't get that rip-off feeling.
Yeah, and same here.
But again, like the Warner Brothers is gearing up. They're going to use every part of the buffalo. They're going to monetize everything that can be monetized. They're going to try to put out things that aren't good, or excuse me, that are good. They're going to can things that aren't, and hopefully prevent bad things from happening to start with.
Yes.
Now, will there be some bad movies released? Well, because what they have in the can is what they have in the can. So don't expect to see changes from either movie studio for years.
Yeah, because you still have like, I'm assuming there's still with regards to Disney, there's probably still some stuff from the Iger regime that's being put out.
Yeah, I think we would have just now been probably next year we might be seeing some stuff that actually no, that's right. Chapek still had Iger on the board of directors breathing down his throat, or even his neck until like January of this year. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah. So I just find it very interesting that both of these major studios with beloved superhero franchises both hired money men to right the ship in 2019, or after 2019, I should say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it work, if they can make it work, great. I won't be complaining if they start putting out some good content.
So you know what everybody's streaming at you for? Give us a Superman movie that feels like Superman. I think that people are reasonably satisfied with the Batman if it wasn't 3 hours long and you trimmed down some of the plots a bit.
Yeah.
But just give us a Superman movie that is unambiguously Superman.
Yes. Yeah. Not a Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder. Composite.
Yes. Or you could go weird and give us the composite Superman, which is half Batman and has all the powers of the Legion of Superheroes.
Yes.
Hard to explain where the Legion of Superheroes came from because you haven't come out with their movie yet, but
All
right, I think we're rambling.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you stuck it out this long, guys, go ahead and give us a like, a subscribe, whatever they do on Rumble where we aren't.
Like, a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications,
and go read Orca Princess.
Yes, go read Orca Princess, and be sure to check out our review of Prey.
The first hype review, because we actually reviewed it when it was timely.
Yes, exactly. Yes, hype review. Yeah. All right. Thank you again, everybody, for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we will see you next week.
Later, all.
Later.
The life of a spy isn't as glamorous as I thought. But it isn't dull.